Hey guys and girls, Joshy and Bogan back for another episode of BJ and RaceDay, episode 5. So we're up to round 5. A little bit of a harder week last week. Everyone would have experienced. I think there was one guy who cracked the 300 last week, and he is now the leader overall. So well done to that fella. A couple of good scores in the BJ and Game Day League. So unfortunately, my scoring wasn't the best. And Bogan, mate, you had a bit of a struggle last week.
Yeah, a couple of good scores in the league, couple of fucking shockers as well, and mine was one of them. I think I only got up over one person that appeared to put their team in. Yep. All the others I got up above were obviously people that had forgot to put stables in at all and just had nothing.
Yeah, mate, typical of SuperCoach when you get to this kind of, and I mean, this is only a short season, the racing one, over sort of 7 weeks, whatever it was, and mate, we're seeing plenty of people bomb out. Brent Hampton, happy birthday to Brent today. It's the big fella's birthday today, but he's well and truly forgotten all about SuperCoach racing. Definitely not a racing fanatic like myself, but mate, yeah, look, a few sort of key results there last week. You had the Japanese horse Murder Glass take out the big race there, the Caulfield Cup. Vow and Declare finished second in that race, and they were popular with plenty of race goers and super coaches. Unfortunately, I had neither in my team, and that was what saw me only just crack over the 200. I did actually make a short list of about 20 horses, mate, that I put on our BGO and Game Day Facebook page. Unfortunately, they were in the 20, but they just weren't in the final 10 that I put together. Other than that, mate, I had a pretty good week. I did actually have yes in the Everest, and I did have it as captain. So it was a nice little choice, but the rest of my team was pretty average. Got a lot of seconds and thirds and fourths and things like that. So, but unfortunately, didn't take the gamble with the Caulfield Cup, seeing that it was a big field. But unfortunately, the two horses that I would have had in based on those top 20, I would have put in there. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, as the Brent Hampton would say. That's the story behind SuperCoach. There's always something else you would have done that could have been better. But I reckon I did actually benefit well. I think last week from the filming, mate, I had 3 horses that I dropped. I dropped Snap Dancer. I dropped a couple of others.
I'm not putting the Tina Turner in again. Not 2 weeks in a row.
No, that's right. The three horses that I brought in, I think I got about 50 points better out of those 3 horses. So, and actually one of them was yes. I actually didn't have it in the other team, so I would have actually got more like 100 points. So it was a pretty good decision to change those around. I dropped Soothing and I brought in yes. So, mate, on to this week, and let's go to the team reveals for week 5. Now, we're going with mine first, mate, or yours?
Yep, yours first.
Fine. All right, so first off the bat, we've got the Japanese horse. Now, one of the biggest races of the year in Australia, the WS Cox Plate. It is the Weight for Age Championship. Basically, what this means is the weight that the horses get are based on their age and their sex. So, for example, you'll see this week there's a very popular horse in Castelvecchio. Now, if anyone's follows the punt as well, since the field was released yesterday, they have absolutely smashed this. They've tried to put money on it from everywhere. It started, I think, $12. It's into about $7 now. It has 49.5 kilos. Now, that's very, very light for a jockey, for a horse, whereas the older horses have all got sort of 56 or 58 kilos. So when you're running over 2,000 metres, we've seen actually this come into effect in the Cox Plate in the past. Horses like Seamus Award a few years back, we've mentioned him in previous videos. He was 3 years old when he won it and had 49.5 kilos on his back. So definitely one to look out for. But the horse I've gone with first up is Le Grasseur. I don't know how to say it. I'm not French. I'm not Japanese. Yeah, look, this horse, the form that it's got over in Japan is very, very good against all the best horses in Japan. And arguably, when these horses travel around the world, they're probably the best perform when they go to other countries. And I mean, that's just a Japanese thing. You see how professional they are in any sport and anything that they do. They don't leave any stone unturned. So we saw Murder Glass, another horse last week, which was Japanese. The form that it had was probably one or two rungs below what this horse does. So based on all the ratings, based on everything that we see in the form, this horse should be a clear favourite, which it is, and should win well. But horse races definitely aren't one on paper. So it's going to have to do it on the day. It's got Damian Lane on board again. So he's the jockey who won the Caulfield Cup on the Japanese horse last week. And he actually raced over there for about a year and made some good connections. So I've gone with him first up. Another one out of that Cox Plate race. Look, I've followed the money and I've gone with Castelvecchio. He's my fourth selection there, and price-wise, $275,000. Considering his price in the race, considering it's worth 40 points, I'm going to throw him in there, and hopefully he can perform well. Look, with the weight, I prefer on-pace runners when they're a 3-year-old. He will be coming from the back end of the field. But hopefully he can get some clear running. Now, anyone who isn't aware, Moonee Valley is where we're racing this week. We've got a Friday night meeting and we've got the Saturday day meeting. So definitely the bigger race day is the Saturday. That's got the Cox Plate and most of the other group races in it. The Friday night has the Manikato Stakes, which is basically a premier sprint event. Now, last week we had the Everest. A lot of the horses in the Everest would have actually been in this race as well. Last year, in the first 2 years of the Everest, they actually ran the races a couple of weeks apart. Then they changed the date of the Everest. And Racing Victoria, obviously where Moonee Valley is, were pretty pissed because what it's done is it's actually taken away a lot of the elite nature of their field. So at the moment, you've got a horse like Bivouac, who's there in my team. He is a very, very short price favourite. And considering the form that Yes proved in the Everest by winning, Bivouac beat Yes at their past 2 starts, over 1,200 metres and 1,400 metres in the Run to the Rose and the Golden Rose, respectively. So, look, a really, really good form line there through Bivouac. The biggest question is whether he's going to handle the Melbourne way of going so close after running the Sydney way. So anyone who doesn't know, Sydney and races in New South Wales run clockwise, whereas Melbourne and Victoria run anti-clockwise. So what you're going to see is at the Moonee Valley track, it's a much, much tighter track as well. It is very heavily leader biased. So most of the time, if you've got a horse that's strong enough, if it is on the pace, it does quite well, which this horse is. So yeah, guys, Moonee Valley racing this week, Friday and Saturday. There is no Saturday racing in Sydney for SuperCoach. There is a meeting on, but it does not affect SuperCoaches. Both the meetings this week for Moonee Valley. And yeah, so Friday night we see Bivouac. I've actually got a couple of other horses in my stable out of that race. It is a Group 1, the Manikato, and it is worth 40 points to the winner. I've put these 2 other horses in purely because they're in the market and they're well priced in SuperCoach, and they are Loving Gabby and Trope. Now, Loving Gabby is another one like Bivouac. It is a weight for age race as well, this one, and they get in quite cheap at the weights with 51 kilos. So they'll be obviously on the speed, a lot less weight than the older horses. And I think even if it was at set weights and they had a little bit more of an even weight, these horses would probably still be favourite over the other ones. As I say, we don't really have the same class of horse that we did in the Everest last week. Trope's another well-performed horse. Had plenty of form around the horses out of the Everest last week as well. Not so much the Yes, but plenty of the horses that finished sort of midfield. So hopefully he can perform well as well. That's the only race that I've got on the Friday night. So the Friday night, we've got a Group 1 race. The other 7 races are all listed races. So 18 points for a win only. So I'm going to steer clear of all of those. We need to chase the points. We need to get as many winners and group winners as we can this weekend. So all my other runners are in on the Saturday. Now, starting off with Madison County. Now, this is actually in the Crystal Mile. It's a Group 2 race. It's the race before the Cox Plate. At the moment, Madison County is at odds of around about $10. I love this horse. I really do. I am definitely a fan of the trainer in Murray Baker and Andrew Forsman. Again, Damian Lane on board, so he could have another massive day if he's going to ride this winner and then the Cox Plate winner as well in League Reserve. But Madison County, look, it is a bit of a step up for it, but what it does, it actually has fantastic form over in New Zealand in group races. It's 2 out of 2 in Group 1s, and it's 1 win from 2 in Group 2s and a 3rd placing. So what that does tell me is, based on winning 4 starts out of 13, it's won a maiden and 3 really, really good races. Basically tells you that a trainer really sets his horses up for a race. Now, we saw the Chosen One, which raced last week in the Caulfield Cup. The week before, Murray Baker set it up. It won well and paid really good odds. And I'm hoping this one can do the same this week as well. So, look, at the moment, it is a fair chunk of change for a horse that's $10, especially when you've got horses in the same race that are a little bit shorter and probably a little bit more affordable. So this is a little bit of a risk on my part. This is probably a horse that most other people won't have in their team, but that's one I'm just going to take a risk on, and hopefully it can pay dividends. The next horse you'll see there, the 5th one along, is Downshaft. Now, trained by Joseph O'Brien out of Ireland. This horse has come across to Australia basically to endeavour on a staying career. It's performed very well over in Ireland, comes out of some very, very good form races, and my biggest concern actually is the jockey that's on board. Now, John Allen has got the ride. Last year in the same carnival, the Melbourne Cup Carnival, and sort of all through the spring, John Allen was probably the best jockey around. He was just riding absolutely sensational. He is from the UK. I'm pretty sure he's from Ireland. This season, he is having an absolute shocker. He is riding terrible. Everything he's jumped on, when it's in the market $4, $5, $6, he's absolutely butchering the ride. So, look, I'm trying to go against the grain here, and I'm hoping he can turn that form around, because Downshaft at $275,000, well in the market. I think it's about $5 second or third favourite, with Mr. Quick in Humidor in the same race. So I'm hoping he can do something there. And again, he'll probably be another little bit of a pod for me.
Is that Downdraft or Downshaft?
What did I say? Downdraft.
Downdraft.
Downshaft. Okay. Downdraft. Downshaft. Backdraft. That was a good movie back in the day. But same thing. What else have we got? 3 horses left. Now, I've got Moonlight Maid. This was a horse that was ultra impressive. And now, this was a couple of weeks ago. This horse is racing in the Drummond Golf Vase. Basically, the Vase has been a race that's held in Melbourne for many, many years. It's another race with plenty of sort of 80 or 100-year history. It is for the 3-year-olds. And basically, it's a step up into some of the longer races. So, over 2,040 metres, the same as the Cox Plate. But this horse was very, very impressive 3 weeks ago, winning a race that one of the other horses we had last week, Miami Bound. This horse came from the clouds and won over 1,600 metres. The step up by 400 metres doesn't worry me whatsoever. It is currently the second favourite. Now, the horse at the bottom of my list there, Battenberg, it is the favourite in the race. So I think Battenberg's $3.20. Moonlight Maid is $4. I really like Moonlight Maid. I think it can get the chocolates. And again, I'm hoping that not too many teams have it. I'm pretty sure most teams will have Battenberg. Plenty of people who are sort of looking through the list and taking it completely seriously will have that horse. Not to say, Bogan, you're not taking it completely seriously, but is that one in your team? Do you remember, mate?
Oh, you wait until you see my team.
Wait until I see it. All right. We're waiting for the reveal. So guys, those are both in the Vase, and again, it is a Group 2 race. And now the last horse I've got there is Vicino. Now, I've got to actually look for this. I can't remember which race it is. It is in, I think it's the 3rd race. Yeah. And again, another Group 2, the Phillies Classic. So over a mile at Moonee Valley. Look, Kieran Maher, David Eustace train. Mark Zara's got the ride. Very impressive preparation so far, back the second time in. It's had a win, a second, and a 4th placing against some good competition. This is a very open race, so I'm hoping it can get the chocolates, but if it didn't run a place, it wouldn't surprise me. So it may be one I look to drop out, but at $125,000, when you're favourite for a Group 2 race, it sort of might just pick itself. So yeah, guys, that's my 10. I do have a jockey already picked this week in Damien Oliver. I will release you will have already seen the jockeys released online with the quick sheets. but I may change that as well. Captain-wise, I've got it on Le Grasseur up there. That is actually one I'll probably change. Look, I think you sort of got to go Bivouac this week. If it is any kind of fantastic animal, it should be winning the Manikato pretty easily. It's got barrier 1. It's going to have to do no work. The only concern is if it doesn't have the pace to keep the lead, if it does sit sort of 3rd or 4th behind the leaders, it's just got to get that run coming into the straight. So sometimes can happen at Moonee Valley where behind the leaders they get blocked and they don't get out. So look, fingers crossed that doesn't happen. We'll put the captain on Bivouac, I think, like most other people will. Bogan, your turn, champion. What do you got, mate?
All right, so this week I've decided to go themed again. So This week is a Japanese-themed stable. So I have picked all the Japanese horses that I could find when I searched for the horses that were available at the time, and all the rest except for one I've picked because they've reminded me of Japanese things. So we've got our dancing, our dancing anime girl there in the corner. So I went obviously Lee's Grasseur as well.
Do we know what it means?
No idea. I dare say Grace is a bloodline because one of the other horses I've picked is Heart of Grace, right there near the dancing anime girl.
I've got to be honest with you, mate. I know what you mean there, but under these circumstances, because it's a Japanese horse, probably not whatsoever.
They're both Japanese horses.
No, I understand, but I'll check up on that. But move on, mate. Move on. Okay. So Lee Grasseur.
Yep. Kluger, another Japanese horse. Castle Vecchio, because the rising sun there on the jockey's outfit.
Okay, cool.
Phil the Flute, because of the flute's importance to Japanese cultural music. I don't know how to pronounce this. Amagiri, and that's because I was, and that's why I got the anime girl there, because I was flicking through real fast and I thought it said anime girl and I had to scroll back, and I realised it didn't. But I went, that's as good a reason as any to pick a horse. Danon Roman, another Japanese horse.
Beautiful.
Snogging was my pick because I had 175 grand left and I just searched all the horses that were 175 grand.
And that's what you'd like to do with Japanese anime girl. Give her a good snog.
Maybe not anime, but Fabilansky, just because I could imagine that being some sort of Japanese brand, but probably Polish.
Right, it sounds a bit more Polish, that's what I was thinking, but there you go.
Heart of Grace, as well, as mentioned before, Japanese horse. And Bella Nipotina, because of Glorious Nippon. So, there we go. Japanese themed team this week.
That's not bad. I do like it.
I can't do worse than last week, surely.
Mate, we do have the perfect balance, don't we? We've sort of got me and all my seriousness, all my punting abilities, and mate, you just blow me away. You just got me beat quite easily. So definitely the entertainment factor of the show. That's fantastic.
Well, this is
mate,
one
very
of
well
those things.
done.
Will one of my dodgy teams get up above yours? How many rounds have we got left? None.
No. Huh? What have we got? We got 4 rounds left after this one. I can guarantee that this one won't, so we might have to get you on a better road next week. But, look, stranger things have happened. I just don't know this strange, that's all.
I don't even know.
Guys,
I wouldn't know what races these horses are in. They're probably handicaps or something. Get 12 points if they win.
I don't think you'll be getting too many points for a win, so fingers crossed they all win. That might get you halfway up the ladder. But... guys and girls at home, you'll see the BJ and Game Day League down the bottom there. That's our code. Join up. I think we've got 55 stables now, so it is increasing. The more the merrier. We had actually one of the guys join up last week, I'm pretty sure, and he's forced his way into about inside the top 20. I think he had a good week of about 280 points. So there he is there, Chris, with Los
Inganables, which I got to point out, that's a wrestling reference. So that is a reference to a Lucha Libre stable.
There you go.
in professional wrestling, but more importantly, keeping on my theme, Los Ignoramus, I can't pronounce it either. Ignorables, the Japan is a major faction in the New Japan Pro Wrestling as well. So a bit of a shout out to Japanese pro wrestling there, to all the fans. I love that shit.
Anyone at home, obviously, we do try and educate as much as we can. We are an educational program, so definitely let the kids watch.
Sitting still, the eternal bridesmaid, Tiger for life, Glenn. Even when he gets to the top, someone joins the league to come in up on top of him.
Mate, look, the way he's been going this season, he's destined to take this out. So I reckon he goes bigger and better this week. Hopefully, the number one ranked player doesn't join our thing, because that'd just ruin everything. And obviously, Chris, with your Los Ingobernables, mate, the rule is if you win it, you got to donate $50 to the Thai England Foundation. I don't care if you're in there from day one or round 5. That's the rules, mate. Rules is rules. But yeah, guys, so 54 stables there in the BJ Game Day League. Guys, we're having a lot of fun. You'll see plenty of good scores. We've had plenty of guys up there who have been nice and competitive. I just keep getting further and further behind because blokes better than me keep joining up. But anyway.
At least Nathan's a bit further down.
Down
in 14.
Mr. She-Will Rain come. Oh, there you go. That'll do. 14. I've cracked 1,000 so far, averaging about 250. Yeah. Last week was a bit of a shock at 103, so that hurt. Just above, just insider.
Yeah. Yep, and below the SuperCoach Racing Insider. So you're almost on par with him. Yep.
He's just insider. All right. There you go. But what else have we got this week? We've got... there's a couple of offers out on PointsBet. As we mentioned last week, one of my mates who works for PointsBet, we're working together with the graphics and things like that. So they've got a special max bet $25 on Bivouac in the Manikato at $4. Now its current odds are $1.80 at $4 if it wins by more than a length. So a length of a horse, if it wins by more than that, you actually get $4 odds instead of $1.80. And Mystic Journey in the Cox Plate. Now this horse is currently the second favourite at $6.50. If it finishes inside the top 4, you get $4. So place dividend for Mystic Journey will probably be about $1.80, $2. Obviously, if it runs first, you just get that $4 quote. But if it runs second, third, or fourth, you get that as well. And the guys from PointsBet paid out last week big time on Senna and Elaine. The odds there last week, Senna and Elaine was a $4.40 favourite. It did run second. However, the bet there from PointsBet was first or second at odds of $5 for a max bet of $25. So anyone who took that option, yes was the one that got up. But you still won there with the PointsBet promotion on Senna and Elaine. So, guys, they run some really good promotions. Obviously, it's only a max bet of $25 usually. So all your big punters might steer clear. But for anyone, hobby punters or anything like that at home, a risky $25 there to pick up 100 or so, it's always a good thing.
Mate, might just add to that. Make sure you gamble responsibly. Just to keep the government off our backs.
Yes. Gamble responsibly. 18 plus only gamblers. Not like me. I remember my 18th birthday party.
That being said, if you run along and give your dad a good tip, you might get a good Christmas present. So,
mate, I was 18, turned 18. Family party at the Albion Park Greyhound track. And mate, as I say, we've owned dogs for years, and we'd been training there for years and racing dogs. And anyway, I had the birthday cake and the candles, and we lit it up and we sung happy birthday. And the girls behind the tabs, they've got about 4 or 5 girls there, and I cut a piece of cake up for all of them because I'd sort of learned to get to know them over the last few years of gambling and things like that. And took it up to the first lady, and they, congratulations, happy birthday. How old are you? And I said 18, and they all looked at me shocked, because obviously I'd been gambling there for a few years now. obviously, they never really carded me. They never checked. I'm sure they had their suspicions, but after about 3 years of punting there, that confirmed everything. So there you go. It's in the blood. It's been there for a long, long time. I can't stop punting. Won't stop punting. Absolutely love it. So there you go. But mate, anything else? That's it for another week.
That's it.
That's it. All right, guys. Join us again next week.
The socials. Now we better mention. You and Brent have done something to the BJ on Game Day Twitter. It's gone.
Yeah. Twitter's gone. Twitter. Look, it will be back. So, guys, I'm sure plenty of people know at home, I control the Facebook page. Bogan sort of does all the editing for the YouTube, and Brent handles the Twitter. Now, with SuperCoach Racing, I said to Brent, look, give me all the logins for the Twitter page, and I'll take over that and go through that. Unfortunately, being that I'm in a different location, we got a little bit of a flag when I logged in. Now, the login through Twitter, it actually wants to ring your mobile number to give you a code, which we can do. It's just as simple as that. I basically have to go to my computer, press send, and it will start calling us to confirm a code, except it calls Brent. So, unfortunately, we haven't been able to sync in a time when we're both together and he can just sort of tell me the code. So we haven't done that just yet, but that'll happen the next few days, and the Twitter page will be back up and running for BJ on Game Day.
Until then, my Twitter's in the description, and Josh's Twitter's in the description, and most of these all come from the SuperCoach Racing Facebook anyway, but that's there as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
Like, comment, subscribe, click the bell.
Yeah, click the bell. We're up to about 190 odd subscribers on YouTube. It'd be great to crack the 200 before the season finishes. We've had a big wave of people on the Facebook. We started the SuperCoach Racing season off with about 40 likes just through NRL SuperCoach. We're up to about 180 now. So it's really gone ahead in leaps and bounds, which is great. So plenty of people will be getting that content. I've put a few of those quick sheets up earlier tonight. So most people who are on the BJ League will get exclusive content of that for a couple of days before I do put it up on the other Facebook pages. The other thing we'll run through is next week we'll see the starting of the True Spring Carnival at Flemington. So the 4 rounds, Saturday, Tuesday the Melbourne Cup, the Thursday, and then the final Saturday, they'll be the final 4 rounds. So each single day will have a separate round. So we'll run you through all that next week, guys. We'll start with the Saturday. We'll be doing a video for the Melbourne Cup as well. We'll do a big special on that and hopefully finish off the season really strong. But until next week, guys, thanks very much.